Yeah,
or
it's
I'm
an
going
arrest.
to. Yeah,
it doesn't mean violence.
So if I don't agree to go to this cage with you, then how do you suppose to get me there? Without using violence, or without using force against my will.
The American Police State, brought to you by Questionable Authority. Your freedom is an illusion. Hello friends and fellow human beings, and of course thank you for joining me for another video. This is part of my ongoing investigation and story on 5G and how it's being forced on everyone residing inside the imaginary lines that make up the magical fairy tale land of freedom and liberty known as the United States of America. This video focuses on the construction company actually doing the dirty work for the Predator class and installing these 5G towers in the Spokane region. As you've probably heard on previous videos regarding this subject, I've already been told by numerous people, including cops, workers, and even flaggers, that it's not the installers doing it. They tell me somehow it's people located several miles, or in most cases hundreds if not thousands of miles away, that are somehow the ones putting these control grid tracking beacons up throughout our communities. It's the other people who somehow aren't even present while these relatively untested technologies that have innumerable unknown effects on not just humans, but all of the environment around them, are the ones responsible for having these towers go up in my community. Funny, because all I see putting them up and creating the end of civilization as we know it are these fiat debt slaves driving these trucks and all their equipment to and from each worksite. I have yet to see a politician or executive for any of these corporations out here. Just these Walker construction workers and their collaborating friends at Perfection Traffic Control. What you're going to see here is more harassment by this construction company who shows up in public places and then calls in heavily armed corporate policy enforcers to compel those in the area to fall under their authority as far as where to be able to stand and how to act while they're in public. This time, I show up at their local work office to document what I can see from public. I never said a word to any of them, and remained on public property the entire time. They, however, called the local policy enforcement unit and had him come issue threats while he displayed his weapons of lethal and non-lethal force as an intimidation factor to gain my compliance. He even threatened to take me to a cage if I continue to exercise my freedom as a human and document what I can see from public. Now I ask you, who are the ones violating the non-aggression principle here? Who is the one using a threat of violence, torture, and being fined to a cage as an authoritarian coercion? A way to get me to comply with their wishes of not documenting them while they aid the Predator class in enslaving us all with this technocratic control grid in exchange for fiat debt notes that will soon be completely worthless, making these fools' debt insurmountable. And then they'll be compelled to trade in all their fiat debt notes and their property for a new one-world digital currency and full enslavement to the Predator class. All while believing they're still free, of course.
Boy, these guys don't like freedom. No wonder they work for the slave control grid.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
That's the one question I'll answer. I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
Nice day.
Well, I'm here to tell you that they're making a complaint about you harassing them at their job sites and now harassing them at their workplace. Okay?
Okay.
I know you're recording me. I'm recording you as well. Okay? What's your name?
I said I'm not going to answer any questions.
Okay. Well, then I will just tell you right now that if it continues, okay, you can be arrested for harassment if you start to interrupt their work and interrupt or cause safety issues for them on their job sites. Do you understand?
Okay. Well, I just want to make a couple of clarifications since you're giving me, it sounds like directives, and you're threatening to put me in a cage if I don't follow those directives. So I just want to clarify. Okay?
All I'm doing is telling you what the harassment statute
Well, I
is.
understand.
I'm going to stop this one time right now to set the record straight. This is a message to all of my blue ISIS loving friends out there who tell me to leave them alone. They're just trying to do their job. Order Follower Jameson's job is to enforce statutes of the corporation known as Spokane, Washington. Now, he has just stated he's informing me of the statute he intends to enforce. I'd like to inform you all, he's not doing his job. He is now threatening to use this statute outside of the scope of its intention, as I'll show you in just a second. So let me ask, is his job to remove my freedom under the color of law? I don't think so. In fact, I believe it's a violation of U.S. Code Title 18, Section 242 that establishes a criminal penalty for this deprivation of rights under the color of law. Now let's take a look at the statute for harassment this policy enforcer is misrepresenting. Chapter 9A.46 of the Revised Code of Washington, Harassment. RCW 9A.46.010, Legislative Finding. The legislature finds that the prevention of serious personal harassment is an important government objective. Toward that end, this chapter is aimed at making unlawful the repeated invasions of a person's privacy by acts and threats which show a pattern of harassment designed to coerce, intimidate, or humiliate the victim. The legislature further finds that the protection of such persons from harassment can be accomplished without infringing on constitutionally protected speech or activity. RCW 9A.46.020, Definition and Penalties. Subsection 1. A person is guilty of harassment if A. Without lawful authority, the person knowingly threatens to cause bodily injury immediately or in the future to the person threatened or to any other person, or to cause physical damage to the property of a person other than the actor, or to subject the person threatened or any other person to physical confinement or restraint, or maliciously to do any other act which is intended to substantially harm the person threatened or another with respect to his or her physical or mental health or safety, and the person by words or conduct places the person threatened in reasonable fear that the threat will be carried out. Words or conduct includes, in addition to any other form of communication or conduct, the sending of electronic communication. Subsection 2A, except as provided in B of this subsection, a person who harasses another is guilty of a gross misdemeanor. So let me ask you, who are the ones really doing the harassing according to this statute?
Understand that, but I mean, they show up in my town and put up these 5G towers that are bad for my community, that are tracked, that's part of the control grid where they're tracking us everywhere. And so, hey, so I consider that harassment. So can I file harassment charges against them?
You would have to fight the actual phone companies who are putting up the 5G
but it's them
towers.
doing it. It's not the phone. It's these guys doing it. So
They're
that's
the ones
why
that
I
are
was
hired
like,
to do it.
no, yeah, but it's them physically doing it. It doesn't do any good to go to Verizon because these are the guys putting it up. So I want,
These
they're
are
the
the
ones
guys doing the
harassing.
job.
Yeah, but I'm doing my job right now too, and they're saying I'm harassing them. So you see,
Yeah,
now you're coming and telling me I'm harassing them by doing my job. So do you see how it works here?
When you
Like,
show up
I'm
at
telling
their
you,
job sites and you're causing safety concerns for them and their flaggers.
by me showing up at a job site, is that causing a safety
When you
concern?
distract their flaggers.
So
for
by
their
me showing
construction,
up and just documenting from what I can see in public, is that a distraction? Because that's all I've done so far.
possibly can be.
How is documenting the First Amendment being taken away because people
I'm
are
not
putting
saying-
up? No, you just said it can be. No, it can't.
If you're
What does
interfering
it
with
say?
their jobs-
Congress shall make no law,
Okay.
right, on the First Amendment, right?
Yep.
So let's just say.
You've been warned about
So I
harassment.
know that I know what they're concerned about. I know that they're going to use you and the force, the monopolized force of the state, to do something against somebody who has done nothing to them. I've shown up in public areas, the same public areas they've shown up at, and that's it. So I understand they're using you to intimidate me, and I'm not going to let that happen because I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not harassing them, and we know that, okay? So you can continue to harass me through them, or you can stop as well, Jameson.
All I'm telling you right now is if you continue to harass them,
So you're saying I've harassed them. What's the definition of harassment? If you're saying you just said if you
conduct
continue to harass them.
that causes bother.
So,
So,
I mean,
here's your warning, sir.
But you just said, I just said that they are causing me bother in my community by their work. And now you're saying that my work is causing them bother, but I'm continuing to harass them.
Okay.
So they're
Then
continuing to
you need
harass
take up
me.
the 5G issue.
I'm taking it up with you because they just took it up with
control
you.
over the 5G issue.
But you have, so wait a minute, you're telling me that you have control over whether or not I'm doing work at my job and I show up in a public area and don't do anything to them and they come interact with me, and you're telling me I'm continuing to harass them if I show up. But if they continue to show up in my community and put these things up that track us everywhere we go and that are bad for the health of my community, because they're at work, you're not considering that harassment, right?
You would need to take it up with the government. Which
so why don't you tell them they need to take it up with the government, which allowed for me to have the First Amendment right to document what I can see from public. So that's what you should have told them instead of, yeah, I'm going to tell him that if he shows up again, we're going to arrest him. Because you're threatening violence. You're trying to make your job easy by just telling me that, when it's the First Amendment that guarantees my right to do what I'm doing right now and what I have been doing.
Yep, from the public domain, you can do that.
That's what I have been doing.
But if you interrupt their flaggers or you interrupt their work,
I haven't they've come to me. So if they come to me, but I'm asking you because I want clarification, because this is twice now that they have called people like you to threaten violence against me, and I don't like that. I don't like
getting violence against you.
But you just did. You said if I continue to harass them, I am going to go to a cage for harassment.
Yeah,
or I'm going
to. Yeah, it doesn't mean violence.
So if I don't agree to go to this cage with you, then how do you suppose to get me there? Without using violence or without using force against my will.
Sir, I'm done talking to you now. Okay, you've been told that if you interrupt their work, it would be considered harassment and that you could go to jail.
Thank you. You know, that would be a proper thing to come say. Instead of telling me to quit continuing to harass them when you know nothing of what has been done. You guys have horrible ethics, calling in people like you. Hey, excuse me. Do you have an incident number for that? They're not, well, you turned on your body cam, you gotta have an incident number, right? They made a call, there's gotta be an incident number. What's that?
What happened?
Not much, I'm just trying to get you guys, somebody in here made a call, so I'm trying to figure out the incident number. He wouldn't give it to me.
Forgot whose number?
What? The incident number. Every time they come out to a call, there's an incident number, so I just wanted to get that. Oh, he's just being friendly and nice, man. Hey, nice seeing you, man. A human, I like to see that, a human.
Thank you for supporting my work. Independent thought and journalism are under attack. If you want to fight censorship and promote independent thinking and freedom, we need your support. It's not just me. All truth-minded content creators are getting pushed off of the most popular and censorship-loving social media platforms. You can support me by making a donation of cryptocurrency. I have multiple wallets listed in the description of every video. If you still love your international banksters' fiat currency, I have links to PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App listed as well. If you're unable to donate in that fashion, consider signing up for LBRY, 3Speak, Hive, Steemit, DTube, or Minds using the links below, and earn some crypto for yourself and me by using my affiliate links. Then, you and I can both be earning decentralized cryptocurrency for you simply watching and interacting with my content.